Poetry and Prose is sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts.
My name is Amy Tan, and I'm a novelist. I wrote The Joylet Club and a number of other novels, as well as memoirs. I'm here in Sausalito in my home, and surrounded by windows, and especially by birds, which always makes me supremely happy because I get to go in a place of peace. I think of ingenuity as being something deeply personal, meaning it's not that you start off with a formula for creativity. It is that your life is a series of moments and experiences which you may not remember. It's embedded in you, however, and it's superimposed on common history, as well as the history of your parents. And these things I find interact. There are associations that I come across in writing, and they become images, metaphors, autobiographical metaphors, so to speak. I would call that part of it creativity, because I believe that the emotions that I have from these moments are my own. They don't belong to anyone else. You can't get it in a creative writing class. The part that I find surprising when we talk about reason, it's not a normal kind of reasoning that you get from someone else. You have to discover it for yourself. And when you write a story for 300, 500 pages, you will reach a point where it feels like you, and you have discovered something about yourself that no one else feels quite like that, because you've had this life nobody else has had. You've had a life with a Chinese mother who was suicidal, or a father and a brother who died when you were 14 and 15. And this reasoning can be contradictory, but it's truth. And I think that that is what we often look for in the fiction we read. We want resonance. We want discovery of who we are. You know, when I was very young, I started drawing before I could write. But I believe that imagination at a very young age is an intermingling of many things. And so, for example, words and pictures in my mind became the same. I don't think we really know what imagination means. I hear people talking about it being creativity or something that you learn in a workshop about imagination, but I think it is this accumulation of images and emotions and assumptions and things you were taught all rolled into one another, and that oftentimes it is these associative things that I talk about. You know, I may have had a fear in childhood, and then suddenly I have something that is similar. And what I do is I find an image that is not one-dimensional. It's actually, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like it's 5-dimensional, 6-dimensional, and it keeps changing. But it kind of has all the surface, all the depth, all the memories, and they start to coalesce into something very particular. And that, I think, is imagination, because it involves this coming together of so many pieces. And it may express itself as words or pictures, a combination of both. I think of my writing as being very visual, actually, because all my life from the time I was a child, when I was trying to make sense of things, I would picture how to make sense of things. I would picture what I should concentrate on so I wouldn't give in to fear, for example. That to me is a quality of imagination, something that you can hold on to with a purpose. It is not simply to be creative and write something that astonishes people because you use beautiful words. It has to do with how things all came together in a very distinctive way and expressed in that imaginative framework a kind of truth, a kind of epiphany. It's your reasoning, your personal reasoning at that moment that enables you to make sense of the world. So I think of the imagination as almost one of these, I actually think of it almost like a doppelganger that's in me. And I don't understand exactly what the doppelganger knows that I think it knows. And it will come together and give me an opening where I see something. The doppelganger is like my soul. And it's the only person looking at what I'm writing and is not judgmental. I have to get away from expectations from everybody else. But the doppelganger is basically me, the unknown me, and lives in my imagination. I grew up with a lot of fear. I had a suicidal mother. I was dealing with my father and brother dying. My mother never lost hope. Even after they died, she thought she could bring them back. And I thought it was futile. Why hope? Things are the way they are. You can't change them. But what I've learned over the years is the same quality of hope that my mother had, that no matter what is thrown at you, this impossible world that we have in which several times a day, it seems, we are assaulted with something that is tearing our lives apart, or people we love that's tearing their lives apart. And I believe that we have to maintain this quality of hope. Now, what's challenging is to know the characteristics of that hope. And I can't tell anybody, this is what you need to hope, hang on to for your hope. But for me, it goes back to that time where my mother never gave up on the possibility that my brother and my father, who had brain tumors, would survive this. And that hope was based on love. And I think we have to always remember there are some qualities in us that others cannot take away as long as we recognize them. We hang on to them, we use them, and they are stronger than anything else that is out there trying to destroy us.